Hey, good morning. Chaplain Sam Smith here from the 172nd Airlift Wing, and I want to speak directly to the men and women of the 172nd this morning. I know that these are really unprecedented times. We had in April a really strange virtual drill, and I don't know about you, but when I don't get together with my people, um, everything feels amiss. And it's that way in my church life, it's that way in my guard life, and so that just gives rise to all sorts of weirdness and challenge. And so I just want to hopefully provide a little bit of encouragement for you as you think about how to be the best you in the middle of this situation, because that's really what you want to do. Um, I will tell you on a personal side, there have been days I haven't even wanted to get out of bed, and but I've made myself and I'm trying to follow some of the things that I just want to share with you today. So last night I was sitting here, I was sitting on the porch, and it's kind of been the routine of late is to come and sit on the porch in the morning and the evening. In the morning, I get to listen to the birds. In the evening, I get to listen to two owls. And I've got two owls that live down here, kind of in this little area back behind me. And in the evening, sometimes they have a little conversation, and it's really a beautiful thing to listen to. But they sound different. They each have a little bit different intonation to their call, and it got me thinking about us, about you, um, and um, and one of the principles that we have in my tradition is that God has created all of us, and He's created all of us unique. There's not another you. There's no one like you. There's no one that shares your DNA. There's no one that shares your personality, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, and so wherever you're at, you are a unique you. There hasn't been one like you, and there will never ever be another one like you again. And so, whatever the opportunities are for you in life, they're yours. Nobody else has them. Nobody else has the combination of gifts and talents that you have to be able to make a difference in the situation in which you find yourself. And so, I just want to encourage you with that. There's a story that comes to us from Esther, the book Esther in the Old Testament. And along about chapter 4, Esther and her people have been carried off into captivity, and Esther has made her way up through the king's court. And in the middle of making her way up to the king's court, she has an opportunity to speak up for her people. And her mentor, Mordecai, comes along to encourage her. And basically, what he tells her is he says, "Look, Esther, God's going to speak up for his people one way or the other, but you're here for just such a time as this. You have the position you have, you're in the place and the time that you're in, so that you can be the one that speaks up for your people." Let me just encourage you. You're here. You're in the middle of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, the quarantine, for just such a time as this. There's another fellow, his name was John Knox. He lived in the 1500s, and he was a Scotsman. He was picked up by the French, captured by the French in a castle siege along about 1547. And he spent 19 months, nearly 2 years, rowing on a French ship as a galley slave. Now, if you have ever heard anything or seen any movies along about a galley slave, it was a difficult life. They would row for 14, 15, 16 hours a day. They would typically be chained to the individual next to them that was rowing. The posture was very repetitious, and it was a very, very difficult life. And so John Knox spent almost 2 years in the belly of a ship rowing the French garrison around. And there was a period of that time actually where they rowed up and down the coastline of his native Scotland. And he could peer through the hole in the side of the ship, and he could see the spires of churches that he used to worship at. No doubt he could smell the smells as they wafted offshore, familiar smells to him. A very difficult time, almost a quarantine like situation. And John Knox used that opportunity as a galley slave to think about those around him. And what he did is he went to the big rocks in his life, he went to the scriptures in his life that gave him great hope. And he took those and he passed them on to other people. Passages like Psalm chapter 18, where the psalmist talks about the fact that God is our fortress, He's the rock of our salvation, or Romans chapter 8, where the Apostle Paul tells us that there's nothing that can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. And so I just want to encourage you, hold on to those big rocks, look for opportunities around you, for you are a unique you, and God has you at the place that He has you right now for just such a time as this. We're praying for you. We look forward to being back with you. If you need to call on your chaplain, we're always here, and we always provide for you that 100% confidentiality. Thanks, and God bless.